Get really clear on who exactly is your target audience is really crucial, and really dive into their specific needs. So you're going to want to be able to identify these objectives within your own business as well as your website goals overall. So perhaps it's that you want to increase your bookings of projects, or you want to be able to reach some vetted qualified leads. These are objectives that you want to be able to get really clear on, to be able to have clear call to actions implemented throughout your website, but also really understand that overall user experience and customer journey that's going to be involved throughout designing as well. And then on the other hand, you're going to want to really understand who that target audience is through a persona avatar. So meaning things like you want to understand what is their motivation for hiring someone like you, what makes them tick perhaps, what are their challenges and pain points of why they might be hiring or looking for a freelancer like you, or perhaps you want to understand their overall lifestyle approach to things too. That way you're better understanding, like, are they going to be more likely to respond to an email perhaps over the weekday during the day, or is that something that, it might look a little bit different for other folks as well based on their lifestyle choices. So getting to know this persona and who they are on a very human level, on a very decision-based level, motivation-wise, challenges, all these different factors are going to play into how you go about designing your website too. So you're going to want to decide two streams here in terms of if you want to DIY or to outsource your website. So on one hand, you can definitely do it yourself. You can save a lot of money when you're starting out, especially if resources feel a little bit tight at the moment and you want to reinvest in other ways in the future. Then this is going to be a great approach for you. You can also, as a pro, learn a valuable new skill, add it to kind of your arsenal of other skill sets that you have, really be able to just dive into the world in the digital age of things to try something different out for yourself perhaps as well, if it's something of an area of interest that you're interested in exploring. Otherwise, some things to consider as well on the DIY side of things is that it can be quite time consuming, as it can be a learning curve for folks as well. So if you're not familiar with too much technology, it doesn't feel second nature to you, or perhaps learning a new piece of software can be a bit of a challenge as well. This can take quite a bit of time perhaps to dive into. So definitely look into some tutorials perhaps, or some other resources to help support with that time piece as well as you're learning a new skill set and a new platform or software. On the other part of it, the design and technical limitations that you might have, it might not be your area of expertise or zone of genius. So it can perhaps limit you in terms of what you want to be able to build out, or potentially also the vision that you have in your head to translate into your website as well can be a bit of a challenge that comes up in the DIY space. Otherwise, perhaps too, is being able to have higher potential of errors evolve as well. So this way, with the frustration that might come along with some of those design and technical limitations, that there may be some room for error perhaps that arises also as a result of. So some things to think about definitely on the DIY side of things if you are looking to go this route. Otherwise, on the other hand, you might want to consider hiring a professional as well. You can get, again, putting that best foot forward, really having that visibility and credibility piece. It really helps to put that professional end result out there into the world, so that that's the first impression that, those potential employers are looking out for when they are hiring you. It's a lot easier perhaps to launch on a very tight schedule. So if you do have a quick launch pad, then I definitely encourage you to consider perhaps hiring a professional, as this way it can get done a lot quicker, that learning curve, and not having to learn too much on your end of things. But overall, if you do have that really clear vision in your head of what you aspire your website to look like, perhaps having an outsourced professional could help bring that look and feel to life, and that functionality piece. If you have certain customizable features that you want to embed, like a calendar link perhaps to your booking, or some other aspects of it, e-commerce perhaps, if you want to shop your packages throughout your website, having these looks and functionalities in place will be able to hopefully be achieved through a professional, so that is true to your vision. But some things that you do want to consider, however, if you are hiring a professional and outsourcing, is that it can definitely be more costly depending on if different tiers that you're outsourcing for, but definitely for seasoned professionals that you might be looking for, it can get quite costly as well. So something to perhaps save and invest ahead of time if that's definitely a route that you are considering. But it also is dependent on the designer's availability. So this way, if you find yourself looking up a style of a look and feel of a designer that you really love, perhaps as well, then you will want to consider their availability and piece of how far out are they booking in case that it does align with your own launch schedule as well for your website. But both of these options are really great to definitely look into, and they're both also available through Prospology here. So you'll want to, as the first step, create a memorable domain name for your website so that the domain name is basically the www.url name that you're going to come out with. Some key tips that you can walk away with is to really make it easy to remember. It is difficult. You don't want it to be too long by any sorts of the means. So definitely keep it short and simple and sweet and memorable so that people can definitely type in as much as possible so that you reduce the likelihood of any sort of typos or errors that might come up. Another piece is to consider keywords for your SEO, for search engine optimization. If you're looking to rank higher in Google, for example, or other search engines, then definitely you'll want to be able to include some of those keywords, whether it's medical or writing as a result of. These keywords will help pick up some of that as well through the URL. And then also check for the availability as that other key step as well. So this way you can go through just Googling to see if it exists already. You can go through domain third parties as well, whether it's through your own website platform, which we'll talk about shortly, or something else like GoDaddy or Namecheap.com are other great options that you can look into to see if the domain is even available, and being also conscious of the .coms, .orgs, .nets perhaps as well that you might want to consider. And then of course, if you are looking to market and promote yourself online, to look into the social media handles if they are available with the same sort of handle and keywords in place as well, so that you're able to have that cohesion consistency across platforms. So with the domains in particular, you do want to make sure that you can actually go about two different options is what we recommend typically. So one of them being that you can go straight through to your website platform hosting itself. So if it is something like Wix, for example, you can actually buy a domain directly from there as well. So you can keep everything in one platform, which is really nice and easy to maintain moving forward as well. So this way you have both your hosting of where your website is being used, as well as your domain purchased through the same platform. So this way you can go about buying a domain and then also assigning it to a specific website that you create directly on there. However, something to consider if you are looking for a third-party option like GoDaddy or Namecheap.com, that you can still actually connect it through Wix or your other website platform as well. But something that you will want to make sure is to, there's a little bit more technicality that goes into place. So basically you will need to go in and open both Wix and your third-party platform of choice for your domain and manage what's called your DNS records, which basically helps to connect and sync them together. It can take up to 72 hours as well. Whereas if it's directly through Wix or, your respective platforms, then it is much quicker typically as well to connect worldwide. So something to be conscious of when you are choosing where to purchase your domain specifically. So talking about hosting platforms, typically most Prospology students do work within Wix or Squarespace. They're very user-friendly. They're very intuitive to use. It really makes it easy to add content and writing samples specifically. They're really great for content-heavy websites, I would say, in particular, with what is based on the market specifically. They offer really great free and inexpensive plans that are quite comparable to other platforms on the market and are very easy for you to maintain moving forward. They have a very easy drag and drop sort of approach to things when maintaining them. But we always like to say too that any platform will work as long as you find perhaps some resources and tutorials and support to help you with this process as well. But the best platform is truly the one that you use. And so I want to go through here as well how you can go about looking up some different templates in place, some tips perhaps that you want to consider when you are looking at these key pieces. And so let's see. Going off of here, you can actually go through a template library such as Wix here. They have so many different types of options available that you can sift through. As you can see, over 70 pages on here. You can also go through different categories perhaps. So let's just say we want to look up consulting and coaching perhaps as a starting point. So there's so many different pieces up here on the top left corner that you can look into, or if you want more of a blog approach, you could go that way, or something creative perhaps. You can definitely look up and filter through a lot further from here. But this is the beautiful thing of being able to look at different templates in place. So even if you want to hover over a certain template, you can view it before you ever start using it. And this way you're able to see the overall flow of how things are looking on both the desktop version, as you'll see here, perhaps like considering what kind of sections are already built out in place, if it mimics some of the content that you're coming out with, if you want like a logo wall, perhaps a really nice contact footer, considering the pages that they've created, or if it is kind of like an anchored point approach like this one here, some things that you'll want to consider as well. But the nice thing is you can also review the mobile version directly in here as well when you're previewing things, so that you can get a good sense of what is already built out to make your life a little bit easier. So you can follow these 4 key steps to plan out the structure in your content as well. So create the navigation and pages that you require. So understanding if you want to have perhaps a homepage and about, a services page, your portfolio and contact are probably going to be likely your standard 5 pages that you have in there. If you want to develop further, you definitely can moving forward, but I would say I encourage you to have those 5 pages as part of your website. Number 2, to write out all of your website copy, make sure it flows really well and includes a striking headline for your homepage. That opening banner is that really prime real estate section. You want to make it a good first impression, but also to make it really clear what it is that you offer, so that you can speak directly to those target audience as well. Number 3, definitely build out a brand guide as well, or a vision board, to get clear on your overall vision and website aesthetics. This way you're getting really clear of that overall vision piece as well, of what it's going to look and feel like. If you've gained some inspiration perhaps of other websites that you love the look and feel of, this is going to help inform that brand guide and vision board approach too. And then of course, number 4, build out and sketch out some wireframes so that you know exactly where the elements are going to go structurally. So with wireframes in particular, think of it kind of like your blueprint or guiding plan as well. It can literally be sketched out on a piece of paper just for you to get, again, from head to translation of what you want for your website, and going about it in terms of blocking out where you would like photos, where you would like text perhaps as well, different sections that you have built out, or if it's its own designated individual page. These are all things that you want to consider during that sketching of the wireframe stage.